Welcome to More Patients, More Impact, More Income, the podcast for real holistic medical practitioners who want to grow their high-impact, high-income practice without selling out. And now, here's your host, Chris Axelrad.
I'll never forget this patient of mine. Her name's, just call her Tracy, okay? At the time, this was about 7 years ago, so she was about 38 years old at that time. Had a history of really severe scar tissue in her pelvic cavity, her uterus, her tubes, her ovaries, covered in endometriosis and scar tissue. She was trying to get pregnant, and I was working really hard to help her. We worked together for, I would say, at least a year, maybe even 18 months. And over that time, she tried on her own for a little while, couldn't really get any progress there, and then eventually moved on to IVF, and even had a lot of difficulty at that point. And I think it was around, again, about 18 months in, she just decided it was time for her to move on. It was time for her to just take a break, reassess her options, possibly adopt. She was not interested in using donor eggs, so that was something that wasn't on the plate for her at that time. And, I remember this feeling like I had really failed her. Why couldn't I have found the right protocol, the right system, the right treatment, to fix that situation and help her? We had become really actually friends during the process of her treatment with me. And we're even Facebook friends now, which is how I know that since then, she has managed to have a child, which is awesome. And I want to say, now that I think about it, she did come back to me when she was getting ready to do a donor embryo transfer. So that was something that I was really proud of her for coming to that place in her life where she realized that being a mother was what she really wanted. But after she finished working with me, and after, that first time where she decided to call it quits, and I was feeling pretty down in the dumps about it, about a week later, I'm in treatment room, with the patient. I come out and there's this beautiful edible arrangement sitting on the counter outside. And I'm like, where'd that come from? My receptionist at the time, she was like, oh, you've got to read the card on this thing. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go and I read the card, and I'll never forget it. It was from Tracy. And remember, this is about a week after she essentially gave up, or at least stopped coming in for treatment after many months. And the card said, I just want to say how grateful I am for all your help. Thank you. I will never forget all you did for me. And I remember reading that, and it just it stunned me. And I get emotional just thinking about it right now, honestly. Because that, all of a sudden, it helped me to realize that I really had tried my best. I really had brought everything that I could to her situation. And she appreciated that. And she knew that the results were not in my hands, and that they weren't in her hands either. Sometimes things don't work out, And when I now think of that situation and what I learned from it, I think of the sun, and I think of how the sun every day, the sun shines. And sometimes, it shines its light, and sometimes a plant or a tree may not make it. It may not thrive. It may not even live. And other trees and other plants thrive and grow. But the sun doesn't stop shining its light. And the sun doesn't ask for anything in return. And the sun is not being affected by what's going on in terms of people getting results or people not getting results, the plants growing or not growing, the animals thriving or not thriving. The sun is just there, and it's always shining its light. And that's how we need to be in clinic. We can't control, nor can we say who is going to heal, who is not going to heal, who is going to get better, who is not going to get better. Sometimes cases are easier and people do get better. Sometimes we have difficult cases and people do get better, and sometimes they don't. But you know what? Don't let that change the amount of light that you generate for the people who come see you, because that is what you can control. And that is what actually, whether they realize it or not, or whether I realize it or not, whether you realize it or not, that's what we're all looking for, is that light, that truth, that kindness, that love, and that sincere effort and focus.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.